Coach, welcome on to the show. Thank you for popping in. We're so happy to have you on. How are we doing today? Can you hear me?
Yep, I said sorry, I was muted. I'm doing
Oh,
well.
okay, you're
Thanks for
good.
having me. Yeah.
So let's talk. I was talking about this Middle Ridge team before you came on. We were talking about last year, and obviously, we know that on the win loss side of the things didn't go the way that anyone on that program wanted to. But you had a lot of kids that were coming into their first year in that role as juniors or even kids that were sophomores playing. You had a lot of experience coming back. So when you look at
hmm
lessons you can learn from last year and the experience that these kids got last year, how can you carry that into this year and make improvements?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, obviously, I agree with you that things didn't go the way that really anybody wanted. But for me, it's kind of a test as far as who do we want to be moving forward. Do we want to kind of be hit with that adversity and start improving, improving even more, and kind of take it on as a challenge to outperform ourselves from last year and continue to get better. But yeah, I mean, this year we are bringing back some guys, and we've also had some unfortunate injuries from other sports, and then in preseason, that have hurt some of the guys that are coming back. But we're not going to make any excuses. We're going to try to get better every day. But so it's we're going to rely heavily on a couple of upperclassmen and a really strong sophomore class that were freshmen last year who played a ton of JV minutes, really the majority of JV minutes, and then we'll see what kind of if we get any contributions from any incoming freshmen too.
Coach, when we talk about the football team that just had their season in on Friday, but that was the deepest that team had gotten into the playoffs ever. You have that momentum from that year. How do you take the athletes that you do get from football and try to use that momentum from their success in that season into this year, into this
Yeah, it's a
basketball year?
yeah, it's a great question. I mean, obviously, congrats to them. Have a lot of the same kids, playing basketball, and they need to take that same mindset of, believing in themselves and knowing that regardless of the sport, when they line up against their peers, and whether it be on the field, whether it be on the court, whatever, that they can go out and perform well, and try their hardest, and at the end of the day, come out with a win. But yeah, for sure, just trying to keep the energy up, and kind of take that, like we said last year, like that we not me mentality, and do whatever's best for the team at all times, and see what the outcome is at the end of the day.
Let's have a little meet the team segment. I'm going to let you go through your roster and shout out the players that you're going to lean on so heavily this year and let us know the names that we have to know if we're going out to Middle Ridge this year.
Yeah, for sure. I did mention a couple of injuries. So those guys I want to mention first. Jordan Moore got injured during football, and Trey Wrigley, one of our seniors, got injured in the preseason. So I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to have either of them this year, but wanted to definitely mention them. As far as key contributors coming back, we're gonna have the Rossi brothers, Julian and John. John's coming off an injury from football as well. And Julian had a really strong season. Really happy for him to see him, kind of get back in the swing of things from having a tough year last year. And then I mentioned our sophomore class. You had guys like Chase Moore who, came in last year for a second half of the year in basketball, and in my opinion, kind of dominated. Really changed the way we played basketball for the last month of the season. And then there's gonna have some other sophomores in that class who played heavy JV minutes last year. You're talking like Landon Bingham, Caden Schaefer, Blake Basista, Jackson Geddes, and Ethan Vistorsky. So we're gonna have a strong 6 or 7 man sophomore class. It's really gonna, we're gonna really ask for them. We already have asked them to step up and really be the leaders of the team, along with the Rossi brothers.
Coach, obviously injuries are never something you ever want to see, but seeing that they're happening preseason and you have time to, you know, make a game plan at least, and not it's not like in the middle of the year where it's like, hey, guess what, we have a game tomorrow.
Mhm.
What kind of benefit does that give you to have a little bit of a game plan and to be able to work with the guys you do have and try to at least make a plan for what the season's going to look like?
Yeah, I mean, I think it obviously is probably better than the alternative, like you said, being mid-season. But I'd be lying if I didn't tell you I wish I had those guys for any amount of time, because both of them have been big contributors, and have been guys who've been personally committed to the program, and they'll still be around. So I think there's a benefit, knowing who we have for now, and realistically trying to keep getting those guys better and keep them healthy too, because as we all know it, like you said at the beginning, like the injuries are part of it, and trying to control what we can control and keep those guys healthy while still getting better, and trying to accomplish what we want to accomplish, which is playing good defense, executing on offense, and at the end of the day, like giving ourselves a chance to win in the fourth quarter of games.
Let's talk about the schedule you guys are going to have. Obviously, we'll start with the conference, a very tough MVAC Scarlet Tier. You're going to have a Louisville to contend with, Western Reserve, McDonald, Springfield, et cetera, et cetera. There's no easy night, right? So, what
Mhm.
are you expecting out of the league? What kind of things can you expect out of the MVAC this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of like the double-edged sword with, these kinds of conferences. Really, most is it's tough. So you're not having there's no, hey, like a gimme game by any means. But the also side of the coin is like it is tough and it's exciting every night, or every Tuesday, every Friday. So I mean, every game's going to be tough. We saw it last year. We hung with a lot of schools, even though we were, like you mentioned, down in the bottom of the league. But I'm fully expecting us to be competing night in, night out, because that's just the attitude these kids have had over the last year and a half or so, as they've kind of started to get older, is that they really, really like to compete no matter what it is. And yeah, I mean, like you said, every game's going to be tough. That's what makes it fun. That's what makes it hard. But that's what makes it so much more rewarding at the end of the night when you do come out with a victory, and makes it feel that much better at the end of the day.
You get to measure your team when you go outside of the conference and build games that are purely just to prepare yourself for postseason. Who
Mhm.
are some teams outside of the MVAC that you're excited to test yourself against this year?
Yeah, we got a couple tough matchups, non-conference. We're gonna play Columbiana again. We opened up with them last year, so definitely looking forward to playing for them, as well as Matthews. We play non-conference. That's new this year, as well as playing Maplewood and United again towards the end of the year, which we played towards the end of last year. So those were competitive games. They play different styles of basketball. Some get up and down, some are more physical, and I think just kind of being able to play against different styles of play and different personnel, I think is all just gonna kind of create that equation of helping us peak at the right time, when we're going through the conference play.
All right, Coach, I want to give you also the time to highlight your staff and the people that you have working with you. We know that you get the interviews and you get the limelight, if you will,
Hmm.
but we know you have great people behind you. So I want to give you the time to shine a light on your staff and the people you have working for you.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's a great question. Yeah, I have three coaches. My JV head coach and kind of varsity assistant, George Basista, has been a huge help. Connected throughout the community, has been a huge help for me on a daily basis. My other varsity assistant, Corey Bartek, real close friend of mine, really connects with the guys and is able to kind of be in my ear at all times. And then a former player of ours, of ours at Ridge, Zach James, just continues to really impress me, just with his maturity, be able to connect with guys, coming up with new ideas, and just kind of being a Swiss Army knife for us. And then at the end of the day, the coach's wife is always head coach's wife is one of the most important people around. So I got to shout out my wife and for all the support she gives me throughout the season and the off season when, my busy schedule.
Coach, I want to give you props because you're the only coach so far that has unprompted given the shout out to the family at home. And ooh, that brownie points right there. Love
Yeah.
it. Coach, I also want to ask you about having a former player on staff. What does it mean to you that someone that you have already coached wants to come back to one of your programs and wants to feed back into, the program that you've obviously worked hard to build? What does that mean to you that someone wants to come back and you've actually made like the
Hmm.
big impact in their life enough that they want to come back and coach for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. I think it's like for people like me, it's part of the reason why we do it in the first place, right? Like Zach's been around. Like really, Zach never stopped. Right, he graduated in May of whatever 2 years ago, and coached with us last year, right? So all off season and all last year, and has been around. Really, he never really left. Right, he stopped playing and he started coming to practice as a coach a couple months later. But really, like I said, it's really why people like me do this job, right? The wins are great, but it's about the relationships and the effect you can have on young dudes. And he's just one example of someone who's really just been a sponge. And then things that he's absorbed, he's then taken and ran with it, and continues to really just impress me. And I mean, sky's the limit for him in whatever he wants to do, whether it's coaching or anything else. But he's a great dude to have around, and we'd be worse off without him for sure.
Coach, one of the things that we are asking all the coaches this year, it's kind of a theme of our season previews, is about the love of basketball, right? We all have it. We all have it, whether you're playing basketball, you're coaching it, or you're broadcasting it. There's a
Mhm.
reason we keep coming to the gym, and that's because we love the sport. When did the love of the sport of basketball kind of get infueled in you? When did you kind of find yourself falling in love with the game?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, shoot, as long as I can remember, really, since I was little, always played. I grew up in the community playing, at McDonald, and just really, just really enjoyed and really loved the game, and continued to do that throughout, my, after high school, and coaching in college and the pros, and just really, just like you said, like we all love it in some form or fashion, and whenever what we're doing, but it's just the for me, it's just the ability to be able to compete and build those relationships and that camaraderie. And if you've ever been in a locker room or been in a practice or been in a game that's exciting, and and experience both ends of the spectrum, the lows and the highs, those are kind of what drives me to continue to love the game, and the competition and the camaraderie. Really, the two words that stand out to me. That really why I still do this stuff and why I still love the game.
Coach, we love having you on the show. We appreciate your time, giving us a solid preview of Middle Ridge basketball. We wish you the best of luck this year. We can't wait to talk to you real soon.
All right, thanks, man.
You got it, Coach. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.